This Kisanja should be regarded as a Kisanja of no more sleep for Ugandans.
This is what President Museveni said shortly after taking oath for his 7th term in office. Over the years, Museveni has repeatedly condemned corruption and pledged to deal with it. But despite the promises and numerous anti-corruption campaigns, corruption continues to plague public institutions, with many Ugandans believing the problem is only getting worse. Concerned with the growing trend, former Makindye East Member of Parliament John Simbwa, during the 9th Parliament, championed amendments to the Anti-Corruption Act aimed at strengthening the law. Among the proposed changes was the introduction of mandatory confiscation of property belonging to individuals convicted of corruption.
When I joined the Parliament, I had seen loopholes within the old law, and I brought this amendment. We provided for the mandatory confiscation. What people should realize here is that we are talking about mandatory.
In 2015, Parliament passed the Anti-Corruption Amendment Bill, which was later assented to by the President.
It was signed by His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni on the 15th of October 2015.
The amended law also introduced provisions allowing authorities to seize assets linked to suspected corrupt individuals, including property held abroad.
We went ahead under Section 67C to provide for extraterritorial enforcement. How do you now work with those countries that have agreed to work with you, even without them sanctioning a particular individual, for you to confiscate and dispose of the property of a convicted person?
Beyond legislation, President Museveni also established additional anti-corruption bodies, including the State House Anti-Corruption Unit. However, despite the laws, institutions and repeated pledges, corruption remains deeply entrenched. Several stakeholders have differing views on why the fight against graft has yielded miserable results.
Because time and again they have argued that they investigate and they make recommendations, but often they lack the political power or authority to be able to carry out the necessary punishments.
We need no interference with the work of IGG, because usually there is heavy political interference that has frustrated good people in these offices with good intentions to fight corruption.
We can identify corruption as a rebel force, as a threat to our country's development, and tackle it.
John Simbwa says he is frustrated by delays from the judiciary in operationalizing regulations needed to enforce mandatory confiscation orders as provided for under the law.
I repeat, the problem lies with the Chief Justices of Uganda. Because under our law, and it is very clear, the Chief Justice shall make rules to regulate the procedure for confiscation and recovery orders.
He says he has written to the current Chief Justice, Dr. Flavian Seizure, as well as his two predecessors, seeking action on the matter.
And when I was addressing him, I said, I wrote to your predecessors, His Lordship, Honorable Bart Magunda Katuleve, and His Lordship, Honorable Alphonse Owiny-Dolo, about the same subject. But on both occasions, I received no response.
Simbwa and fellow anti-corruption activists believe that confiscating property acquired through corruption would send a stronger warning and help curb the vice.
Seeing them forfeiting property, then people will fear to get involved in corruption.
Because if we confiscate, other government officials will know that the moment they get me, they will sell all what I've done. They will sell even those that have not bought from that money. So it is the best alternative. That is why I had it in my manifesto.
If there exists political will to punish those who engage in acts of corruption, to act on their recommendations, then the institutions will have been strengthened and empowered to fight corruption.
The question now remains, will the renewed commitment by President Museveni finally tame what many have described as the growing cancer of corruption?
The first test is in the choice of NRM party as to who will carry the flag as the Speaker of the House. If they return an internationally sanctioned Speaker over corruption, they will have failed their own test in the first month.
Because without supporting the president, him alone and the executive will not succeed. So it's a battle for every Ugandan.
I'm Benjamin Jumbe, NTV Weekend Edition.